or you have no finance at all. Say you don't have 1 lakh at all. You tell the Islamic bank, I want to purchase that money, I want to purchase that machinery for 1 lakh rupees, and after it comes to Bombay, I will make a profit of say 20,000 rupees on that machinery. Now they're dealing a transaction of mudareba, that the Islamic bank buys the machinery and gives it to the businessman. And the businessman says that within few months or within a few days, I will sell that machinery and get a profit of 20,000 rupees. That profit is shared between the bank and the businessman and the mudarib on a ratio which is predetermined. For example, the bank says, since we are giving 100% finance, we want 60% profit. The 20% profit goes to the businessman since he is not putting a single pie. So out of the 20,000 profit that the businessman takes, that he makes, besides returning the 1 lakh rupees capital, he also gives back a profit of 60% of the 20,000 rupees, say rupees 12,000. And the remaining 40%, remaining 8,000, he keeps for himself. This is called as the mudareba, along with murhaba. The other is the musharika along with murhaba, that the businessman has part of the finance. Say, of the 1 lakh rupees, he has 50,000 rupees. So, he says 50,000 invested by the bank, 50,000 by the businessman. And whatever profit they have is again divided on the ratio that is predetermined. There's another system in the Islamic banking called as ijara. In the modern terminology, it can be called as leasing or hire purchase. That suppose you don't want to buy that machinery or vehicle. Suppose there's a car you want for 2 lakh rupees. You don't want to buy it. You just want to rent it. So the Islamic bank says, we are willing to rent this vehicle, rent the Maruti car which costs about 2 lakh rupees to you. And the rent is based on the lifespan of that vehicle. Say suppose Maruti van or Maruti car can last for 5 years. And the Islamic bank says, I want a profit of 1 lakh rupees. So the cost price of the car, 2 lakh rupees, is added with the profit they want 1 lakh rupees, 3 lakh. It's going, the car will run for 5 years, that's 60 months. So the 3 lakh rupees amount, the cost plus the profit is divided equally between 60 months. It comes to 5,000 rupees. So you rent that Maruti car to that businessman for 5,000 rupees per month. That businessman is not interested in buying the car. If the businessman says, after 3 years, I may have part of the money to buy it back. It's called as ijara ending with sale. So the bank will say, the Islamic bank, for 3 years we want a profit of 80,000 rupees. So 2 lakh of the car, add 80,000 comes to 2 lakh 80,000 rupees. He keeps on paying 5,000 rupees every month. At the end of 3 years, he pays approximately 1 lakh 80,000 rupees. Still 1 lakh is due. So the businessman pays that 1 lakh rupees lump sum to the Islamic bank and buys the car. So in the Islamic banking system, there is renting, ijara along with buying back facility. In the modern bank, the car is on your name, it's only hypothetically to the bank. And the modern bank will never buy back the car. In the Islamic bank, if you don't want the car remains with the Islamic bank. So the businessman, when he takes a loan from Islamic bank, has the option of buying back the car or keeping the car with the bank. Coming to the last type of system in the Islamic bank is Qarz Hasan. Qarz means loan, Hasan means beautiful. That is, loan is given to a person who's poor without interest. There is no equivalent of Qarz Hasan in any system of modern banking. There's nothing like interest-free loan in the modern bank at all. By Islamic bank, for example, Malaysia, 10% of the profit, they keep it separately for Qarz Hasan. This fund is given to the poor people who are encouraged to do business. Say suppose they want 2,000 rupees or 5,000 rupees or whatever amount for a period of 1 year or 2 years. The bank will say, okay, we give you 5,000 rupees or 10,000 rupees for 2 years. You do business and return that money back to us after 2 years. But natural guarantees are taken if possible. If the businessman who's poor goes in a profit, if he wants, he can give part of the profit to the bank. If he does not want, he need not give. He is not forced to give a single pi extra than the money he has taken. Willingly, if he wants to give a part of it to you, to the bank, he's most willing. But technically, he has to only return the amount he has taken back. This is called as Qarz Hasan. And the reference is given in the Qur'an, in Surah Baqarah, chapter number 2, verse number 245. That who will loan to Allah a beautiful loan, which Allah will double and multiply unto his account. The word Qarz Hasan is mentioned in the Quran, that if you want to give a loan to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah will multiply it, increase it many number of times. And I'd like to end my talk by giving a quotation from the Quran, from Surah Baqarah, chapter number 2, verse number 261, which says, the parable of those who spend their substance in the way of Allah is that of a grain of corn. It grows 7 years, each year bearing 100 corn. The Quran says that those who spend their substance in the way of Allah, the parable is that of a grain of corn. It goes 7 years, 7 buttas. Each year having 100 corn, means one corn becomes 700 times. One grain of corn is converted to 700 corns if you spend it in the way of Allah. In short, Allah promises you 700 times profit. In business terminology, you'll say 70,000% profit. I want to know which business in the world today can give you a profit of 70,000%. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promises you that I will give you 70,000% profit, 700 times profit. And Allah does not stop at that. He says, I will give you many fold times more. But for you to do business with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you have to have taqwa. You have to have faith. You have to have righteousness. You have to have God consciousness. The best bank that you can invest is in the bank of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's the best bank. But natural to invest in that bank, you require taqwa. You require God consciousness. You require piety. Wa akhiru da'wan alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.
Thank you for that, Jazakallah khair, for that very educative talk on the subject of the day. Now we'd have the question and answer session, in which we have an open forum for the audience to put questions to Dr. Zakir Naik on the topic of the day, interest-free economy promulgated by the Quran. You may ask only one question at a time. Kindly be brief and to the point. This is a question-answer time, not a lecture time. Put forward your question and you'd get a response to that. We have mic arrangements here. For the gents, we have Brother Imran, who runs down the aisle with the mic. Anyone requiring to ask a question, would like to ask a question, may kindly raise his hand, and as per a direction, he would be passing on the mic. In the ladies section, we would request the person coordinating there, Sister Farhat or whoever, to kindly tap 3 times on the mic there like this. So I know a questioner is ready there, and we give them the opportunity. Or she could interject and request when appropriate. We start the question